Success shouldn't feel this exhausting. If you're winning on paper, but burning out behind the scenes, you aren't failing. You're stuck in a psychological bottleneck called a hurdle of stop. I've been there. On the outside, things look great, but I was secretly burning out, convinced I was just lucky and waiting to be exposed as a fraud. I realized I didn't have a business problem. I had a mindset block. Whether it's imposter syndrome, perfectionism, or fear or failure, these aren't just feelings. They are growth bottlenecks. Identify your specific hurdle and get one immediate action step to regain your momentum today. Go to tuepodcast.net/quiz. That's tuepodcast.net/quiz to take the 3-minute assessment and get your report now. This is an Undiscovered Legacy production and proud member of Pod Nation Media Network. And podcasting ended up being what I love the most. I never would have found podcasting if I didn't fail that crowdfunding. And you could see how that failure actually turned into something really super positive. Because here I am, we're 4.5 years in, and I'm still doing this and loving every second of it. And it's not even about the money anymore. It's about being able to help other people. But I would never have been able to help you if I didn't fail at that crowdfunding. So understand, failing is not the end. Failing should actually be celebrated. We should celebrate failure. Hey, I failed, but that's okay. I'm actually kind of glad I failed because I learned these things in that failure. Now I know what not to do. I think that's more important than anything else. We learn what not to do, and we take that information into whatever it is that we do next. Are you ready to unlock your entrepreneurial potential? Are you ready to break free from all the barriers holding you back? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Undiscovered Entrepreneur, your first step in getting across the start line. Let's get across that start line together, right here, right now, on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur. Hello, School Believers, and welcome to episode 3 of 3 of my 3-part series. This is the final one, everybody. And we're talking today about failure and fear. Now, there's a reason why I put these together, because everybody always talks about fear of failure. I really think that at one point or another, we have experienced failure of one way, shape, or form. When we were growing up, we got a bad grade. It was a failure. If we started a new entrepreneur adventure and didn't quite work out the way we thought it, we always think it's a failure. Different ways, shapes, and forms for us to think that we've failed if we're just getting started. And it's the thing that we fear most as entrepreneurs. It's that fear of failure. And that stops us from doing anything. What if it doesn't work? We always get stuck in the what ifs all the time. What if it doesn't work? What if I lose my house? I mean, what if I lose everything? And we get so worried about the what ifs, we just said, okay, I'm not going to do it. It's just too much of a risk. So how can we take something that's so negative and turn it into something that's positive, right? It's mainly how we perceive the failure and what we take in from the failure and what we learn from the failure is what really makes us who we are. We could think of it as a failure if you really want to throw your hands up in the air and say, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. Or we could think what I did at when I failed at my crowdfund. Why did it fail? What did I learn from the experience that I did gain from actually doing the crowdfund? What can we do different next time that's different from this time so we don't have that same failure twice? It's very important that we redefine failure, different from what we learned in school, different from what we've been taught in the past. We must unlearn what we've learned when it comes to failure. We must understand that failure is a stepping stone. Failure is a tool that we can use. So when we think about failure, I always think about the acronym for FAIL. First attempt in learning. I say this all the time in my podcast. It's the first time of us doing anything. Of course, there's going to be room for failure. There is, especially if it's your first time, there's going to be room for failure because you've never done it before. Always redefine failure as your first attempt in learning something new. If we could perceive that, if we could change our thinking in the failure, it will lead us to something that's great. Eventually it will, but you just can't stop doing it. Otherwise you'll never get there. We're all going to have our own personal way of redefining failure. It depends on the person. It depends on who you are and how you've thought of things in your life. But we're all going to do it differently. Your way of defining failure is going to be different than mine. We have to redefine the failure that we're thinking about and turn it into some kind of learning process. It's up to you. How do you actually do that? In essence of that, I'm going to just give you a quick story about my failure and what happened to me. So in 2020, I wanted to be karaoke DJ and a music DJ. My whole life I was trying to come up with new ideas to make money and run my own business. I've been wanting to do that my whole life. But being a karaoke DJ and music DJ is something I always wanted to do from childhood. And to be able to make my own music and to make people sing and be a part of that world. But I had no equipment. I had no money. I didn't even have a computer, didn't have a microphone, had absolutely nothing. So I decided, okay, I'll start a GoFundMe page. I'll start a crowdfund and people will just give me money. Obviously, that was wrong. I think I only made a couple $100 in a couple months, and I'm sure that was my mom throwing in a couple dollars to make me feel good about myself and what I was doing. But that's what moms do, right? After finally realizing it's not going to work, instead of throwing my hands up in the air and saying, this is not going to work, this wasn't meant for me, I'm never going to be a karaoke DJ and music DJ, I thought, why didn't it work? Why is this not working for me? What did I do wrong? And the only way to figure that out, especially since I was getting started, I couldn't exactly ask anybody, was to do research. Research on crowdfunding, researching on how to be successful at crowdfunding. I read many books. I listened to lots of podcasts. In that information, in that looking for information, I actually came across podcasting. They said, start a podcast, have people follow you, understand what you're trying to accomplish, gain an audience, and then go for the crowdfund. Now, at that particular point, I barely knew what podcasting was. I knew kind of what it was, but I never thought about how to actually put on a podcast. But it sounded like a great idea. I mean, growing up, I always recorded my voice on a controller or on one of the cassette tape recorder things, and always loved listening to it back. I figured it was kind of like the same idea. So I started doing the podcasting. Because of that failure, because of me researching in that failure, I found podcasting, and podcasting ended up being what I love the most. I never would have found podcasting if I didn't fail that crowdfund. And you could see how that failure actually turned into something really super positive. Because here I am, we're 4.5 years in, and I'm still doing this and loving every second of it. And it's not even about the money anymore. It's about being able to help other people. But I would never have been able to help you if I didn't fail at that crowdfund. So understand, failing is not the end. Failing should actually be celebrated. We should celebrate failure. Hey, I failed, but that's okay. I'm actually kind of glad I failed because I learned these things in that failure. Now I know what not to do. I think that's more important than anything else. We learn what not to do, and we take that information into whatever it is that we do next. So what encompasses all this? Everything that we've talked about up to for these last 3 episodes, they all are what? Fears. There are all different types of fears that we can experience when we first get started, and maybe along the way too, in our entrepreneurial adventure. Fears can be just about anything at this point. Imposter syndrome is a fear. Perfectionism ultimately is or can be a fear. And of course, fear of failing. But what if we looked at it a different way? What if we took these three things and looked at them in a different perspective? What if we said, instead of running away from fear, instead of running away from failure, let's understand that failure is actually part of the process. The more times that we fail, the more we're going to learn. And the more we learn, the more likely we're not going to fail and succeed in what we're actually trying to accomplish. The more we feel perfectionism, the more we understand that we care about what we're trying to do. We care about what we're trying to accomplish. We care about the products that we put out for you. We just try not to cross over that threshold of perfection and perfectionism and not put anything out at all. Imposter syndrome. We need to feel imposter syndrome. If we're not feeling imposter syndrome, we're not pushing ourselves hard enough. If you're not feeling imposter syndrome, there's a direction that we need to go that we're not going. And then once you start feeling it, maybe we need to start heading that direction. These are all fears that we can overcome in our entrepreneurial adventures. I'm going to get into a little more of this because I finally got my talk back. The talk that I did at Podfest, and I'm going to show it to you, and it's going to go in a little bit pretty deep about perfectionism, imposter syndrome, failure, and fear. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Hey, everybody, how you doing? All right, now, what I'd like you to do here is, if you have ever felt perfectionism, come on, we're podcasters. We know about perfectionism. We made that first episode over and over and over again. Raise your right hand right now. All right, awesome. All right, now, if you've ever felt imposter syndrome, we're like, who am I to do this? Am I worthy of doing this? Raise both hands. I'm going to go both hands. Leave them both up in the air, all right? Now, if you ever felt failure and fear, I want you to clap your hands twice. 1, 2. All right, awesome. Yeah, I think I saw some big people over here clap their hands too. Yeah. All right, so what all these things are, the 4 hurdles of stop, the 4 things that stop us from getting across the start line in our entrepreneurial adventure. Perfectionism. We've all felt perfectionism. It's that one thing that stifles us, that eats up all of our most precious, valuable time. We get it over and over again until it's perfect, and it never really becomes perfect. We have imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, we don't feel worthy of what we're doing. We have that monster behind it that tells me, you're not worthy. You're not up to this. You can't do this. That's a rough thing. Imposter syndrome also feels like armor that's just too big for us. It's supposed to protect us, but instead it smothers us. Imposter syndrome is a rough time. That was the hardest one I had for me too. Imposter syndrome was probably the one thing that was rough for me. We have these accolades all around us, awards. We could be doing this for years, but still feel like we don't deserve these. We're just a person. I'm just a human. Why do I have these awards? I'm not worthy of these awards. Or a failure. We all feel that monster, that glob monster behind us. It's kind of rough, isn't it? We all feel like, why do we even put this out there? It's going to fail anyway. Or the biggest one of all, fear. These are all fears that we all experience. Like that lion that's trying to attack you from behind, but, no saber-toothed tiger is going to bite me from the behind. But what if we took a different look at it? What if we took a different perspective of it? What if instead of failure, fear, and all these things, we use these as a compass instead of running away from them? Instead, we think of perfectionism as, I've done this a couple times. I feel the perfectionism. Let's put it out there. Let's see what happens now, instead of trying to do it over and over again. And then we could also do something like the glob monster, that thing that always tells us. But once we start feeling that fear, once we're feeling that in our hearts, we could change it. We could go, instead of running away from it, let's put it out there now. Let's see exactly what's going to happen. And we use it as a guide, as a compass, to point us in a direction of where we're supposed to go. That's what I've been starting to do lately, and that's actually what led me here today. And it's been an amazing, amazing thing. So, also, the monster, the imposter syndrome. I'm starting to feel like I'm not worthy. I'm working so hard that I'm just, these resources are going away because I'm doing it over and over again. Instead, let's look at it a little bit differently. Let's say, I'm starting to feel the imposter syndrome. That means I'm going in the right direction. That means I'm supposed to go this way, not go away from this way, if that makes sense. And it's just amazing to be able to feel that armor that's too big for you, that's been smothering you all this entire time, that you've been trying to fill. If you start feeling that, you could fill that armor. You fill it with your heart. You fill it with your soul. You fill it with what you're supposed to be doing in the time that you're doing this. And know that now that I'm putting my heart and soul into this, I am worthy. I am worthy of being able to put this podcast out. I am worthy of the awards that are around me. And of course, my favorite, fear. Fear covers all of these, rolls them into one. But what do we think about when we think about fear? We think about the acronym for fear. Some of us know it. False evidence appearing real. And you change it. And instead of running away from fear, you run towards a kitten. That's right. We go towards fear. And whatever is on the other side of that fear is what's going to be great for you. So remember, we run towards fear. Now, if you see me out in the halls as I'm running around, tell me what your hurdle is. Tell me how the hurdles have changed you.
I hope that worked out for you. I really enjoyed putting on that talk. And it says a lot about what I believe in at this point in my entrepreneur adventure and in my podcast. And I want you to be able to benefit from it. I want you to be able to understand what your specific hurdle is that you need to cross first. So in doing that, I have a questionnaire. I think I've talked about in my last couple of episodes that I did for you to find out what hurdle that you need to get over first. What's the most significant hurdle that you need to get over in your entrepreneur adventure? If you would, go to tuepodcast.net/quiz. Only takes 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, you can figure out what your biggest hurdle is, and I will give you tools to be able to overcome them. These last 3 episodes have been very enlightening for me. I've never done anything like this before when it comes to solos. And doing the solo for you has been very interesting for me to understand that, number one, I can do solos. And I'm hoping that I could put a few more out there when the subjects come up where I can talk about them solo. So what's your next move? What's the next thing that you want to do? Leave me comments. If you're on YouTube, leave them a comment there. If you're listening to this on any of the other podcasting websites, go ahead and leave a comment in there. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your hurdle is that you need to overcome. If you use the questionnaire for it, great. Let me know what the answer was. I'm very interested. Thank you for following me. Thank you for subscribing to the podcast, whether it be through YouTube or any of the other podcasting platforms. And I really hope that you all took something away from it and you all learned something. Gosh knows I have. All right, Scuba Believers, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. And there you have it, future entrepreneurs. We've taken a vital step on the journey across the start line. Remember, every great business begins with a single idea and the courage to pursue it. And you've already showed that courage just by being here today. As we wrap up this episode of the Undiscovered Entrepreneur Get Across the Start Line, I want you to reflect on the path. You have to recognize the 4 hurdles of stop. Is it imposter syndrome holding you back? Is it perfectionism, failure, or fear? Identifying which one affects you the most is the key to unlocking your momentum. But here's the real secret. The hurdles are not in the way, they are the way. Every time you clear one, you're building the exact strength you need for your journey ahead. Until our next episode, keep pushing, keep dreaming, and keep jumping over those hurdles. This is Scoob, your guide across the start line. Remember, your future is waiting. I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. Hello, Scoob Believers. Let me ask you a real quick question. How many cups of coffee have you had today? 3, 5, 7? And let me guess, you've got a Red Bull in the other hand just in case, right? Yeah, I see you. Now, here's the truth bomb nobody wants to hear. You're not building a business. You're building a caffeine dependency. Listen, I get it. When you're grinding 12, 14, 16-hour days, you're building something from nothing. When you've got payroll to meet, investors to impress, and visions that won't wait. You need fuel. But what if I told you that the fuel that you're using is actually slowing you down? What if the very thing that you think is keeping you sharp is actually making you dull? Enter Rise Coffee. This isn't your grandma's mushroom tea. This isn't some hippie wellness trend. This is science meets performance. And here's what makes Rise different. Less than half the caffeine of a regular cup of coffee. But here's the kicker. You won't miss it. 6 organic powerhouse mushrooms, including cordyceps, what Olympic athletes use, and lion's mane, what Silicon Valley biohackers swear by. Sustained energy that doesn't spike and crash. We're talking smooth, clean power from morning to moonlight. Crystal clear focus without the jitters. Imagine closing the deal with calm, confident mind instead of the caffeine chaos. Gut health and immune support, because what's the point of building an empire if you're too sick to enjoy it? So here's the challenge to you. Stop borrowing energy from tomorrow. Stop running on fumes and call it a hustle. Stop wearing your caffeine addiction like a badge of honor. Real entrepreneurs optimize, real entrepreneurs adapt, real entrepreneurs win. You can't win if you're crashing at 2 p.m. while your competition is just getting started. Break the cycle. Head to risesuperfoods.com right now and use code PODNA15 for 50% off your first order. That's PODNA15 for 15% off. Try it for 30 days. If you don't feel the difference, if you don't feel sharper, calmer, more focused, more alive, then go back to your 6-a-day cup habit. But I'm telling you, we won't, because once you feel what real energy feels like, you'll never go back. Ditch the addiction, fuel your empire, and rise up. Rise Coffee, energy that builds, not burns.